All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to second part of the Andor podcast. Will and I have been going through some Star Wars stuff. We're picking up kind of where we left off with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So we're doing Andor season 1 since that's
Yep.
finished. And yeah, so we're just gonna not like anytime, crazy soon or anything, but like eventually we'll be talking about like Rogue One and kind of going that direction. I know like Ahsoka's out and everyone's enjoying it. So, but yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it.
That's right.
But yeah, so for tonight we are covering second half of Andor. If you haven't seen the first half, you should check that out first. And yeah, so tonight that first episode we did the first 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to do the other 6. So so Will, since this is your first time watching, how do you feel about the second half compared to the first half?
Um, I like them completely differently. I feel like they're
Yeah.
completely different shows,
Yep.
and they're both incredibly good.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they're both incredibly good for like completely different reasons. Um, the bank heist, well, the like stealing the credits, like and preparing for that, and trying to make a blow against the Empire was like fascinating in itself. But this the slow like build of like essentially why would people who are not like I'm totally gonna blank on his name, but the
Yeah.
main like the main not Andor, but the guy who's like
Lufin.
yeah, like not like people outside of him and Mon Mothra, like
Yeah.
those people obviously are trying to do stuff in a different way, but it was nice to see how people
Yeah.
um on I forget what planet he was on, but where his
Scare.
mom,
Oh, yeah. Um
Barracks.
Barracks, yeah, that's it.
So I really like that it showed like how people like that slowly start to rebel. Like
Yeah.
how like come Rogue One and like A New Hope, like how do you go from everyone believing the Emperor's lie to everybody's rebelling, or at least like
Yeah.
half of the planets are rebelling.
Right. Yeah, that's a
So
really good point because Star Wars has always kind of been like the struggle between good and evil. It's always been like Jedi Sith.
right,
And even like the rebellion has always been the rebels versus the
right,
empire.
right,
But getting to see it from like just normal people like you and
like
me,
right.
like what does this mean? Like they don't know. Like we as the audience know like Palpatine is bad.
Right, of course, right.
But like regular people like you and me, like you would believe Palpatine, he was the chancellor for years and now he's saying like the Jedi are bad. Like we're done with that.
Yeah, like
You
look what
you
they
and I would
did.
just be like, okay.
Right.
But you see how it has to come to like a boiling point for just normal citizens of different planets and how
Yeah.
bad they're being treated by the Empire. And they're slowly starting to see like, okay, the Empire are like really, really bad.
Right. And you're seeing the people who are still like drinking the Kool-Aid, right? Like Mon
Mm-hmm.
Mothra's like husband and the people that she's affiliated. Well, the people
Yeah.
he's affiliated with by extension.
Right.
So it's
Well, that's
like
all money, right? That's all like
right.
they're making way more money now than when
And even though
the
we're not like
Republic.
yeah, even though it's like before this, like Andor is after the solo movie, but like there's that scene where they're all in like the glitz and glamour like area where they meet Paul Bettany's
Mm,
character, and it's just the same thing. They think it's they love it. They love
hmm
the Empire and it's great, and they make so much money and all this good stuff. But then it's places like Ferrex and a couple other places that like, hmm. And I
I'm
tell you
starting to
what,
see.
I'm probably one of the few people I kind of not knowing it was going to. Um, I had heard it was that there was going to be a season two, but I didn't really know. I
Yeah.
was kind of like, I think I heard that it was the thing, but I don't really know. So retrospectively, I kind of honestly wish um the prison stuff, like them getting out, was the last episode.
Oh yeah.
Then the rebellion thing, because that felt very quick in
Hmm.
comparison to the prison, and I
Well, yeah.
really really enjoyed the the facility and the prison
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
a lot.
yeah, yeah. You know what? When I was first watching it, when it became about the prison, I was like,
Mm,
oh man. But then the next episode after that was like still all the prison. I was like, wow,
yeah, yeah.
they're really digging into this. There's got to be a reason, right? Why is this
Hmm.
so important? And it's because
Yeah, yeah,
he's literally he Andor is probably killed on Scarif by a part that he specifically worked on. Like part of
yeah.
the
Hmm.
laser from the Death Star probably passed through a piece that he had his hands on.
Yeah,
Right? Isn't that crazy?
yeah, it really is. It
And
honestly really is.
how funny is it too that like he's a criminal, he's done all this stuff, and he gets arrested like on mistake,
Yeah,
like
just
by mistake
because
because
he
he's
was
in the
looking
wrong
over his
place.
shoulder, right? Yeah,
Because he's a yeah, right? Yeah.
yeah,
But you're starting to see how actions are having like major consequences, right? So like
yeah,
the thing that they did on that planet with the heist,
yeah.
I can't remember the name of that planet,
Eldani, I think.
Eldani. So they do the heist on that planet, and now the Empire cracks down on security. So now when he's on that like ocean
Yeah.
planet,
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
smallest thing is now like a 10-year like like sentence.
yeah, yeah. I think the judge even says to him like, usually this would have just been like
It's like a six
like
week thing. Yeah.
something. Yeah, it was like now it's like a minimum of 3 years, and then you learn while he's in the prison, like you're never leaving,
You don't get out, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's a great episode.
right?
That's why that episode continues to be good, is because like now it's like now the prisoners are freaking out and they're all like, I love that scene when they're all in like the tubes, the
Yeah,
transport like tubes,
yeah,
and they're like they're giving signs and they're
yeah,
communicating, and they're starting to realize like, hey, so these two guys got released, but then they
yeah,
just put them on floor 4. Like nobody's getting out of here.
right.
And that's when Andy Serkis is like, escape, escape, escape.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the other thing. He such a great
he's
like
fantastic.
actor. Like he's
He's
so good.
fantastic. I love how I love you totally believe his like turn. Because when Andor's like, okay,
Oh
we're gonna do
yeah.
this, and he's like, shut up. Don't even talk about this stuff. Like, shut up.
Yeah,
And then
he's got like
slowly,
days, he's got like months left, right?
yeah. And
Not
then
even.
slowly, like you're saying, once he makes that realization that like this is it, dude. Like, even if you get to your thing, like they're just gonna transfer you to another part of the station. You're not leaving. Like you are here for forever. And like
Well,
once he
yeah.
comes to that realization, it's like, oh, okay, like I don't got any good ideas more than you do. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, Andor, like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he fought to free everybody, knowing full well that he was never going to get off of that prison because he can't swim.
So that's what you think that's just all it was. I really hope
Well,
that wasn't the end of his story.
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah,
I
it
think so.
was sad.
But that just shows it is sad, but it just shows like that's how, like you said, his him turning to realize like they're liars. They're not going to honor their word. I'm going to get everybody out of here
Hmm.
and tell everybody what you experienced there, because like I can't swim. I can't leave.
And he gets like knocked in. Yeah, I was bummed out when Andor you see the other guy getting there. I thought it was him, and then it wasn't. It was one of his other
Yeah.
Roshi. Nashi or whatever his name was.
Yeah,
Henry.
so that guy is in Rogue One
Oh, I
that
didn't
he
realize
escapes
that.
with. Yeah, he's not like a main focal point of Rogue One, but he's
He's
one of
somebody.
the dudes, yeah,
Hmm.
which is interesting, which is cool.
Yeah.
What do they chant? Oh, there's only one way out.
Yeah. One
One
way out.
way out.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is pretty good. But that the prison is cool. I love seeing like that kind of stuff in Star Wars, like the functionality of it.
Yeah.
The guards have to wear those like boots that protect them from like the electroplating in the
Yeah. Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
Their cells are all open, but if they step out on the floor when the floor turns the lights turn red, like it electrocutes you to death,
Yeah.
which is cool.
But you can understand it because, like, from an empire's point of view, you just use technology to control these guys, and you only need so many people to like run it. You could put
Yep.
people in other places, right? To like
Yep.
put literal boots on the ground in other planets to oppress people and stuff, and like
Right.
have
Well,
this
and
facility
that's
run by like 15 people. You know?
and they disguise it as crimes and criminals, but it's
Right.
it's free labor, it's slave
Right.
labor, and
Yeah.
that's how you know the empire is really bad.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, all that stuff is really good. I'm glad that you really like the prison stuff. I don't
I loved it. Yeah, I loved
I
it.
think I think most people do really enjoy the prison stuff, but I think there are people that it does kind of slow down those
Sure.
episodes.
Sure. I can understand that, but
But like I said, once they
I would
start to
never.
find out that like you don't get out, you just go to a different floor. I think that episode like picks up after that,
Sure.
and it's like very entertaining again. Plus, you get a prison break. I mean, how many shows,
Yeah.
Star Wars shows, you get like a robbery, a heist,
Right. Right.
a prison break. It's like
Right. Right.
shootout, car chases. I mean, it's got everything. It's a
Right.
procedural. It's a
Yeah.
very enjoyable.
And
So yeah.
the other stories were fine. I like
Hmm.
Luthen. I like the Mon Mothra stuff. I like how she's
Yeah.
trying to
Okay.
appeal to the Senate and do all these things.
Yeah, isn't that funny that she still believes, like as of right now, she still believes like she can solve everything
Yeah,
with just like, the law.
yeah. And
And
I
Luthen is
liked
like
all
100% in no.
yeah. I liked all that stuff. That was pretty interesting. And to me, it's just very much like just bridging the gap. Now they're trying to get like, how do you get senators who believe that the way to change things is in the Senate? How do you get those people to be like, no, I'm going to give up on that, and now I'm going to go over here and rebel, like on Yavin. Like I'm going to go to
Hmm.
some desolate place and rebel in my own way by blowing stuff up and murdering people, essentially.
Essentially going to like rebellion hiding.
Right, right. So I get that that's kind of that was the purpose of that. And I really, honestly, even though I don't want him to catch Andor, and he won't really catch Andor because Rogue One
Yeah.
happens, but
Yeah.
I kind of like the story of the kind of beaten up Imperial officer guy that like has to live with his mom, and
Oh
he won't
yeah.
he won't like.
Zero.
That sounds right.
It's funny that his name is Zero and he is a zero.
um,
Yeah, he's just like he's obsessed, right? He's
yeah,
obsessed with Andor.
he's
Like it
really
ruined his
obsessed.
career.
Yeah, his mom is
Um
awful. I can't stand
his
his
mom was
mom.
great. Yeah, his mom was great. But he's basically committing like serial stalking on
Oh,
like
absolutely.
the what's her name? Dina.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, did you expect Mon Mothma's cousin to be the girl that pulled off the heist with Andor?
Oh no, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, right? That episode where like she
It was.
shows up. They're like, "Oh, your cousin's at the house." Or was it her sister? No, it's her cousin.
No, it was her. No, maybe it was her
Niece?
sister. Actually,
Was it her sister?
I think it was actually.
Uh, Mon
Now that you say
Mothma's.
that, I think it was. I think it was her sister.
Hmm.
Cyril. His name is Cyril Karn.
Cyril. Yeah.
Good enough.
Cyril.
Deidre is the
Oh, it's Deidre.
No, Deidre is the lady lieutenant.
Oh, okay. Deidre. Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. So remember last time I was telling you like, hey, there's a pretty cool cameo, and you're like, oh, I already know Andy Serkis, and I was like, oh, no, 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 not Andy Serkis. So episode 8, Luthen
Oh,
goes
yeah.
and talks to Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right?
You think I am going to take all of my men there? No.
Right.
Why don't you believe that I will kill you here where you stand? Yeah.
I gave everything for the rebellion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh
that's pretty
yeah.
cool, right? So you get to see more
Yeah.
about like how Lutheran is like he's kind of manipulating he's even manipulating like Saw, who's like a
Yeah.
very like prominent rebellion character.
Mhm.
And then there's also that episode too. I can't remember where it is, but he Luthen meets with his mole that works for the Empire, and he's saying like, "Hey, so
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
Empire
yeah.
is going to attack this ship, and they're going to kill everybody like they know what's going on." And Lutheran's like, "All right, well, let them." He's like, "Well, you can't just let them kill all these people." And he's like,
Right.
I'm not giving up my position. If they get there and they destroy the ship and nobody's on it, they're going to know that I have an
Right.
inside man. It's over. Like, no, no,
Right.
no. All those people are sacrificial lambs at that point. It's over. You know.
Yeah.
So it just shows like his what that in that speech in that episode,
His
that
commitment,
speech.
right. Yeah.
I've given everything for this.
Yeah.
That speech is so good.
Yeah, because he's like, at the end of the day, you get to do this, you get to do this. You'll get to see the rebellion. I will never get to see the rebellion. He's like, I'm going to lay the foundwork so that people can go forth and do this thing
Yeah,
and bring down the empire. And I know that I will never see that day because either I'll be dead or I'll be old, like
yeah,
old and gone. Yeah,
yeah.
her name is
I,
Vel, and she is Mon Mothma's cousin.
his cousin. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
just thought
back
that
to
was
your
interesting.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's just funny too how this show has become it's about Cassian, but it's about the start of the rebellion.
yeah,
So
really, yeah,
Cassian's like adopted mother, she is like a pivotal role in the
yeah,
rebellion. Luthen is a pivotal role in the rebellion. Saw Gerrera is doing stuff with the rebellion. And
yeah,
then Cassian, he just does it for the money.
yeah,
And then now it all kind of culminates to the last episode where like Andor goes back to Ferrix and he goes there to
right,
save Bix.
yeah,
Doesn't care about the funeral. He goes there to save Bix, but like
yeah. And she's being
Luthen, everybody's there to kill. Everybody is like on Ferrix to kill
yeah,
Andor. Even like
yeah,
Luthen and
that's true.
like they're all there. They're like, he knows too much. We're gonna just kill him.
Yeah,
So it's like he
yeah,
did
because
this job.
you have Cyril and Deidre looking to kill him. You have
Yeah.
Luthen who's looking to kill him, and then you
Yeah.
have the lady who's with Val, who's like stationed on the planet to like report to Luthen
Mm-hmm.
and Val like where he
Oh
is,
yeah. She gets
so
that
that
job at that bar.
she can kill him or trap him or whatever. Then you just have regular Imperial people who are stationed there to like basically be aware of his mom, like anybody who associates with the mom, like they're on alert. I can't, the
Yeah.
guy, you know what I mean, like the people, but
Oh
there's
yeah.
also that like head guy on the planet too. He like
The
takes
actual
over.
like almost kind of like police force. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's like cool. And then you also had you had that guy who like, oh man, who said something to him? Remember the guy like he overhears him talking and then he goes and
Mm.
reports and he's a spy for the empire.
Oh yeah. Vaguely.
He's like he's like standing somewhere. He overhears something. Oh, it's the guy who gets Cassian the like the pass. He calls him a couple times and he's the guy who tells him his mom is dead.
Oh, okay.
He's like talking to him and
He
then
kind of
I think
works in like almost like the spaceport, like
Port
the
thing,
train
yeah,
station thing. Yeah.
right. And then the spy guy gets him drunk and like tries to get information out of him. And
Yeah.
then he learns stuff, and then he's like, "Okay, I want out of here, so just like arrest me," type of thing, you know. So you
Hmm.
even have like people like that, like against Cassie.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it was pretty.
Yeah.
Him just trying to hide in that like little gap, like to see what was going on, and then they're like, "He's up there," but just like, please,
Yeah.
please.
But even like yeah, Bix sends out that message to Lutheran, and then she gets like
Oh,
captured and tortured.
hmm,
She gets tortured pretty heavily. They're like, "Hey, so we found this race of people that when they like get tortured and die, they make the most agonizing noise, and it drives people insane." Like,
yeah,
wow, that's very elaborate. That is very Empire.
yep, yep,
Like very, very crazy.
yeah. Her sitting there and just being like, just like staring off, and
Oh, it's bad, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we talked last time too, kind of about like Lutherans, like how cool his ship is.
oh yeah,
So
oh
that's that part where he breaks out of like that tractor beam
yeah,
from
yeah,
like
yeah,
that like Star Destroyer.
yeah.
That was pretty like
That was great.
pretty amazing. Yeah.
He was like he uses like an alias from Alderaan, I think, right? Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then
It's an old code, like
yeah,
Clone War code, yeah.
and then it ended up being he literally just has to burn like everything because it's like he's gonna compromise himself to make this work because he knows
Yeah.
that they have no right to really justify like stopping him or inspecting a ship, but they're going to.
Yeah.
So he just does everything he can to make sure that they don't. And now he can no longer like go back to that planet and see Saw because they're like looking for that type of stuff. And yeah,
Yeah. The thing that I always find super funny too is that like Coruscant is always like the main base.
uh,
So it's like, so you have like Lutheran who's like he's living a double life, but he's a rebel
uh yeah,
and he lives on Coruscant. But like even going back to like the original series, right? Like like they fight Count Dooku way, way, way away, and then he like flies back to Coruscant and he like has his like base in Coruscant and like
oh
Palpatine is in Coruscant. Like
yeah,
everybody's just on Coruscant.
yeah. Like,
So is the Jedi Temple and the Jedi's like, we don't sense anything. We don't sense anything wrong. You got like a Sith and
yeah, a master and apprentice.
yeah. Yeah, and he's also training Maul somewhere. Like Darth Maul is being
Yeah, he's on Coruscant too.
yeah, he just lives
He's
there.
on balconies talking to him.
God. Oh, it's so funny, right?
It is. It
Like, oh
really
no,
is.
they learned how to mask their chloroforms. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Anybody driving by saw Anakin walking out of the Jedi Temple with dead bodies everywhere, and they're like, "That must have been good. He was saving us all."
That's one of my favorite memes that I sent you the other day where
Oh,
it's Tony Stark and he's like, oh.
oh
And it says when when
yeah,
when Order 66 happens, but you see Anakin going in to save the children.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
have you also seen the memes too where it's Anakin's Force Ghost and like all the kids as Force Ghosts and like, what are you doing here?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man,
But they don't know how to be Force Ghosts because they're children.
true. Yeah, they didn't learn that yet.
No.
Oh man. The best one I ever saw though so far is that um somebody CGI'd like Grogu in
Mm.
that scene and like put the little like training helmet on him.
Oh
He's like in there with all the younglings because like he kind of was, but
yeah, that's cool.
oh man. I'm telling you, they've been doing some cool stuff. Like getting to see, like when we were growing up, right? It's like who the two thing, the thing that everybody kind of didn't like was Jar Jar,
Yeah,
and like Hayden Christensen got all this hate,
yeah,
but like seeing Hayden now getting like all this love
yeah, true.
from all these fans are like, hey,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really
true.
cool. And also, the guy who played Jar Jar is
Oh yeah,
he's basically the Jedi that saves like Grogu from the temple, like during
yeah,
Order 66. And I was like, yeah, it's really cool. Like bring these
yeah.
guys back.
That's cool.
It's cool. They're getting kind of like,
Yeah,
they're getting back, it's
yeah,
cool.
getting there. Basically,
I like it.
sadly, pointing out that their acting is great, but the writing was terrible.
Combination of acting or
just
writing, directing,
just
everything.
choices,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just choices.
It's amazing that like Ian McGregor is so good in those.
True.
And
He's
that's what's
pretty
cool
dry in the
too.
second one, but yeah,
Yeah, but
but
he's kind
that's
of
okay.
supposed to be, right? He's supposed to
Right.
be this dry old master. What's cool too is that his in the Ahsoka series, his wife plays Hera.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's his actual wife.
That's cool.
So now they're both been in Star Wars. Do you remember Hera from Rebels?
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
It is cool. So yeah, I think that's the majority of the episodes. But we'll maybe spend a little bit of time here and talk about the episode 12
Yeah,
because everything kind of culminates to this episode, obviously.
it really does. Yeah.
Um, and I remember you saying kind of last time you weren't like a crazy fan of like Marva or her
Yeah,
story.
yeah, I was okay. I liked her speech at the end, and I
Yeah,
obviously it makes sense why everybody would be upset. Like, of course, it makes perfect sense. And I
she's like
like the
everybody's mom.
yeah, and I like the cultural thing that they did with the bricks. That was like cool, and
Hmm.
I liked all that stuff. Um, and obviously, I see why it was going that way. They were going to eventually her memorial or her burial ceremony um was the thing to be like the revolution. I understand. Like that's why they were focusing on her so much, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I wasn't like, oh, so much more of this character, please. I was just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I just think they didn't, for me personally, they didn't give me enough of her backstory. It was literally like she shows up on the ship, she sort of rescues Andor, but not
Hmm.
really. She just kind of like takes him.
Sort of also kind of kidnaps him.
Right. And then
Huh.
next thing you know, it's just like she's just in this place and is constantly yelling at him about doing things, and then she's dead. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So,
I like it though. I like that she is like 100% like knows that like, hey, we're gonna need to fight against the Empire. And Andor's
oh,
just like,
sure.
no, I just want to like break in and sell their stuff because
Yeah.
like, it's good money and they're super easy to steal from.
Yeah.
But her whole thing is that's what's cool about Andor is like he's just like, hey, I'm looking out for me
Right.
and the
Right.
people I
Right.
and the people I care about. But everybody
Right.
around him is like, we need to like get rid of the Empire. And he's like, no, I don't. We don't need to start anything crazy. We just we just need money.
Right.
Yeah, and
Does he know?
Mon Mothra basically gives up her daughter
Yeah. To
to
that
fund
like
the
weird
rebellion.
thug guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm.
The scene I like from Mon Mothra is when they're in the limo. She's in the limo with her husband, and
Okay.
she knows the driver is basically like an ISB spy.
Does she know?
And
I couldn't
yeah,
tell.
she knows.
Okay.
She knows early on in the series.
Okay.
I remember she tells Luthen in the back, like he's like, "Oh, new driver." She's like, "Yes, the third one this week." Basically, like they're
Okay.
gonna keep doing it until they find a perfect, spy.
Hmm.
So she says to her husband, like, she's like, "Oh, you're gambling all our money away again, huh?"
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Oh, don't deny it. Oh, I know. I've seen the records." So it's like she's throwing her husband like under the
Yeah,
bus
yeah.
because she's giving Lutheran all this money, and now she's getting worried because now they're going to start looking at everybody's bank account to see like, hey,
Yeah.
so where's all this money going?
Yeah, like where did this go? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
now
she
it's like,
basically like that banker guy is like he's like a criminal that kind of worked his way up the ranking.
yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I can make all that stuff disappear, but basically like our two families need to merge.
Yep.
Oh, her daughter's a little punk anyway, so who cares?
At least
She's
towards her, she's kind of nice towards her dad and her
oh yeah.
her I guess her aunt. I guess that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
cousin. I guess I don't know what it would be.
That's
Second
because her
cousin.
mom is too serious.
Yeah, because her mother actually understands what's happening.
Well, it's because her mom's very unlikable, right? She's defending all this stuff that everybody else is so quick to say, like, no, that's don't worry about that stuff.
Right.
You know, she's really defending, like, hey, so like the Empire can't do this stuff. And
Right.
everybody else is just with their hand out saying, like, nah, it's cool. Like her husband's fine with it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So then yeah, so that funeral kind of happens and you get to see another like major fight on like Ferrex.
Yeah. Big huge fight. Right.
Like everybody now fights the Empire. They knock over B2 emo.
Yeah. What's the guy there, the like friend of the family
Um
who like
Brasso?
worked in the mines or something? He was like one of the guys that go get
You
the
wear all the
gloves off the
gloves,
wall.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Brazo.
Okay. Just him being like, just like hitting the guy with the brick. He just like flips him with her brick, and
Yeah.
he's just like, I don't know. It was a really good sequence, and
Yeah, and
then they start shooting back, and you're like, oh boy,
you see kind of like how like ill prepared like Deidre was for that stuff too, because she like
yeah,
once that starts happening, she's like very like out of her like
yeah.
element.
And she also thought when Cyril had grabbed her and dragged her into the room, like she thought that was it. Like they were
Yeah,
going to murder her,
yeah, like tear her apart.
like gruesomely.
Do they kiss in that scene? No, no,
No,
right? Is that
I think
my
it
that's my
was. I think it
Mandela?
was like you feel like they're going to, but I don't think they actually did.
Jesus, my name's Deidre Skywalker,
Oh no. Yeah.
and he says my
Yeah, I'm
name's
really
Cyril Palpatine.
I'm really interested to see what they're gonna try to like build to like next season, whenever that
Mhm.
happens because of the strike and everything. But it's just like I'm really curious to see like what are they gonna
Like,
work towards?
and that's and we're kind of back to where we started from, right? When they announced the show, I was like, what could they possibly tell?
Right,
And like so now season one was amazing. I mean,
right.
it's one of like the better Star
Oh
Wars
yeah,
things from a while, you know.
oh
But now
yeah,
here we are again, like season one's over, and we're like, what could they possibly like tell? Where could they go from here?
yeah.
Right? Because the Battle of Yavin is 5 years
Right,
from this date.
right.
So you don't want to see all 5 of those years.
No, right.
But you
Yeah,
also you have to see Cassian join the rebellion,
yeah.
believe in it, and then you also have to kind of start to see him like hate it
Sure.
because when he meets up with
Jane Urso
Urso,
or Jin Urso.
Jin Urso, he is like 100%. I'm gonna shoot her dad.
Right,
He's the scientist that was responsible. I'm just gonna
right,
kill him, like no questions,
right.
no hesitation. So
Yeah,
he's more cold, right? He doesn't necessarily believe in like the good of the rebellion. He's just a soldier.
right. Yeah,
I think there's something to that, you know.
maybe in season two they'll have Hayden Christensen show up again as Vader.
Oh man.
Boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't see oh, we do this every time.
Oh no.
You did it last time. Now I'm doing it this time. The Rogue One guy in the white.
Oh,
The, yeah, the
oh,
bad
don't
guy.
do this.
Yes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The guy from Secret Invasion, and
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to see him, and you don't get to see the other guy I really like, but I can never remember his name. Basically, Vader's
Oh, Tarkin.
Tarkin, yeah. Krieger?
Orson
No,
Krennic.
Krennic. Krieger. Rennick. That's right.
Krennic.
Yeah, so you kind of got to see like his, I wonder if you'll see his rise.
Maybe
That would be interesting.
it would be.
You know what? I honestly I would like to see like Cassian and like Saw Gerrera do like stuff together, like do missions.
Hmm.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
kind of what changes him because Saw kind of goes crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he see Saw in Rogue One or is that just yeah, he does, doesn't he? Or is that just yeah, because Urso when they find the pilot, Saw Gerrera has the pilot in prison.
think I think they do. I just can't
And
remember.
Cassian makes no or do they go there specifically no. Man, I can't remember now.
Well, that's why we're gonna watch it soon because honestly, I don't want.
Oh,
But the
don't
nice thing with
remember.
with Andor though,
Yeah.
the thing I like that's really nice about it is it makes Rogue One even more interesting,
Yeah, it does,
which is
doesn't it?
already like a pretty hard thing to do because Rogue One is
It's really
probably
good.
my favorite Star Wars movie.
It's kind of sad too, isn't it? That like one of our favorite Star Wars movies is not even like an official Star Wars movie. It's like a Star Wars story.
Right.
Is how it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Oh, that's my little Stardust. I don't know
Yeah.
why that's what I remember. Star Killer. Don't they reference Star Killer bait? No,
No, don't talk about it.
that's
So,
the other thing.
uh,
Yeah. Don't. They took a great name. They took Star Killer.
yeah,
Now, that's something I would like to see live action.
true.
Vader's clone apprentice. Now that would be sweet. The thing that I always think about is like at this time period, like all the Jedi's that are around and just not doing anything.
Yeah.
So like, what was the other thing? Like, yeah, so like watching some of Ahsoka, everyone's like, hey, so like Luke is just like on that planet, like building his temple, like doing nothing. And like all
Right.
this stuff is going on.
Right. Right.
Like, but that's not my responsibility.
Right. Yep. Obi-Wan right now during Andor is just cutting giant whale meat out in the desert every
Well,
day.
that you can let slide, right? That's yeah. Where are we in the time frame?
Well, he's probably I'm
Before
actually
the
having
Death Star.
he's probably actually training with Qui-Gon still in the caves, like in the mountain pass or desert
Oh
pass.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Because this is
Absolutely.
Andor's after.
Hello there. Yeah, right. And Cal Kestis is probably God, maybe 40, 50 years old.
Yeah.
Because he Cal's story comes right out of the Clone Wars, right? He's a youngling that survives Order 66.
Hmm.
I think in the games he's got to be 20s. So he's got to be like, well, if he even survives that long, who knows? That's the thing. Those games aren't like ended, so like they can
Yeah. Right.
just to fill in the timeline, just be like, okay, now he's dead.
No,
He's dead now.
we could really use somebody with a lightsaber to say, "Oh no, he's died."
No, he's dead. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Only we had 2 Jedis to infiltrate the Death Star. That would be
Oh, he did.
just getting news off camera. He's dead.
Yeah, and let's see, Grogu's probably like 30 or 20. He's probably 20. Because in The Mandalorian he's 50.
Wow.
He's 50 years old. And yeah. Who else is out there?
Um,
Ezra is kind of lost in space at this
well, Boba
point.
Fett, like Boba Fett's out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mean like good guys though?
I just mean like Jedi's in general.
Oh, Jedi's. I
Or
see.
like Sith, not Sith, like force sensitive
Yeah. So
people.
Yoda's on the
Ahsoka.
planet.
Ahsoka's doing
Ahsoka.
who knows what she's doing.
Um. Yeah. We don't count Kyle Katarn. Um.
Hmm.
I think he's like legend. So. Um.
Yeah.
I don't think much more. I mean, that's
Where does this tie into where does this tie into like Rebels era?
this
That
is
was
around Rebels
close.
era. Yeah.
So Caleb Dune,
Yeah.
he's an active Jedi in hiding, helping the rebels.
Rebels.
Rebels, yeah. Caleb Dune, he's my favorite. No reason. It is funny because like he doesn't go by Caleb, he goes by Kale. No. No. What's his name? Ah. The whole show he goes by his other name.
Yeah.
What is his
Ezra or
stupid name?
something.
Kanan Jarrus. He goes by Kanan, like the whole show. And then when he like becomes a force ghost, like wolf thing,
Yeah.
he's like leaving a message like, oh yeah, his real name was Caleb Dune. I was like, what?
So it says that the first episode is like this time period is like the same
Hmm.
time period as Andor.
There's Rebels.
Yeah, like see, like the first season.
Okay, cool. Ugh. So Kanan is kind of like training Ezra at the moment, then,
Yeah.
which is funny too, right? Because then you're telling me that like the whole like the whole like Mandalorian arc and everything.
Yeah.
So the Empire hasn't even destroyed Mandalore yet.
Nope.
That's coming. So you got all these Mandalorians out there doing nothing too. They're just like, yeah,
Trying to live their own. And like
yeah.
Darth Maul is still out there doing stuff
Oh yeah,
because he hasn't gotten murdered yet.
yeah, yeah. Cad Bane is still out there doing
Right,
bounty
right.
hunting and
Yeah. Han Solo
yeah.
and
Oh yeah,
technically
Han Solo is really just a smuggler at this point. He ain't doing nothing else.
well also like Princess Leia now is like she's like a
Oh,
teenager, but she's probably with her senator parents like doing things,
that's
they're
interesting. That's interesting. So like yeah, so like you're seeing in this like when Mon Mothra is in that like
right.
council room, right? The Senate.
Yeah. Like so
I'm
it's
sure
probably
like
Organa.
Bill Organa's in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yep.
That's interesting that they didn't show
And I'm
him.
sure Leia's hearing about it when he comes home and she's doing stuff because she was an active person on the rebel ship. Like she was
Yeah.
so
I think she started doing stuff in her teenage years too.
that's what I mean. She's like 13 right now. I think
Yeah.
13, 14 or something like that.
That's
So
pretty cool.
yeah.
And the Bad Batch, they're out there doing something.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's one of those things where like they keep making like content and shows because like they're fun and good, but then you're kind of like, so in the timeline, you have like all these like major characters kind of out there just doing stuff, but not doing anything to help like
Oh,
fight against the Empire yet, kind of
yeah.
culminates to it.
Yeah.
Funny. It's funny that the Jedi like immediately went into hiding. Like just immediately went into hiding. Like didn't
Yeah.
like regroup somewhere and
No.
went to like some hidden Jedi temple. Like,
No,
oh
they all
no,
just
go hide in the sand.
yeah.
No one will ever believe.
They're terrified of Anakin.
Yeah, I would be too. Would be
Yeah, I
too,
mean,
man. It's crazy.
I think to their point, I think they hear from Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and some of the other ones who are like, well, he could be the person to bring about the prophecy. So you hear that for, years, and then he comes about and he kills like
Yeah.
a lot of people.
They're actively hunting Jedi and the Inquisitors. Like, yeah,
Right.
it's not a good move to show. That's why I
No.
really like when they do. Um I think they did an Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan series, that one guy was kind of like didn't put up with that thing.
Oh yeah.
But also that's kind of like how like the first Jedi game like starts is like something happens and the bad
Yeah.
guys show up and he's just like immediately like he's been
Yeah.
hiding for years and years and, years, and he's like I can't watch this happen.
Right. Right. Right.
Just kind of like I kind of it's like an old samurai, right? It's like
Yeah.
you're trying to just blend in, but you just can't watch like Injustice anymore. And
Right.
that like slow reveal of like reaching and just being like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty good. I like it a lot.
So yeah, so I'm interested to see where the revolution, like the rebellion on Ferrix, ends up going.
Mm-hmm.
Like how deep and how far Cassian goes before Rogue One,
Yeah.
and where is the Cyril and Deidre thing going in the sense of are they going to
Hopefully,
join the rebellion? Are they going to die? Obviously they're not going to capture Andor because we know what happened
yeah,
in Rogue
right.
One. So
Hopefully not anything romantic. That would be
no, I don't mean that either.
yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. It is very interesting to see
Yeah,
that.
it is.
Yeah, I don't think there's any set date yet.
No, I can't imagine.
No, especially with everything going on.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I do really enjoy Cassian.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like the actual actor, I think he's really good.
Yeah.
Kind
I
of
agree.
sells the show a little bit.
I agree.
He's likable.
Very much so. Very, very much.
Isn't the first time you see him in Rogue One, doesn't he like shoot that stormtrooper like
Yeah,
immediately? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So it's like in this season starts with him like accidentally killing that
Yeah.
like cop in the thing.
Yeah. I think in the Rogue One, you're supposed to get the feeling that is
He's
he a
just
good guy?
done.
Is he a bad guy? You don't know. And then he
He's just done, right?
makes that decision, and you're like, oh, okay, he's not working with the Empire, at least, at the very least.
It's one of those things too, kind of that irritates me a little bit in like Star Wars stuff is that they kind of show everybody as being like flawed, like bad.
Hmm.
Um, even like groups too, because now in the Ahsoka series, like you're kind of not really liking the rebels.
Oh.
It's like the Republic is set up, but they kind of become just as blind to stuff as the Empire did.
Hmm.
They're kind of arrogant. They have a council and they're Like, oh,
Gotcha.
that couldn't happen. No, that's no,
Gotcha.
no. Right. And it's kind of like, I don't know.
I think
Not
it's
really a
because
fan
they're
of that. It's to move the plot forward and everything. I get that. It's
and
just
I and I'm sure what they're trying to do is explain how the next three movies come about.
yeah, you kind of
Like,
have to,
how do
right?
you
Because they have to let
destroy
their guard down.
yeah, it's like, well, how do you destroy Emperor Palpatine? That's the second Death Star. Take Vader off the table,
Yeah.
and now Luke is leading the Republic, like the Rebel Alliance. And then flash forward,
Yeah.
whatever it was, 15,
Well, it's
20, 15 years, and then it's like, no, there's another empire. They're called the First Order,
it
you
shows
know, all
you
that stuff.
it shows you too though like how bad the sequels are.
Yeah,
So let me explain. Let me just say this one thing. You
sure.
do the sequels. There's no Snoke. There's no Emperor. You know who the bad guy is? Thrawn,
Hmm.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
just
already
remnants of
that's a
the
better
empire.
story
Yeah, yeah,
because that's like where the Ahsoka. I mean, he's cast in the show. I haven't seen the most recent episode, but
sure.
like he's casted in the show. Like, that's kind of where this whole thing is leading up to, you know.
Right, 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 right.
But how much better is that?
Oh, yeah, tremendously more.
He's like this mastermind, you know,
Yeah.
so much better than like Snoke was supposed to be like, oh yeah, Snoke because like he's got a really crazy backstory, and then like he just didn't have anything interesting and like killed them off.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a mess, but I'm just saying, Thrawn would have been cool.
Oh
And you could
yeah.
be watching Ahsoka right now and be like, oh, this is how, yeah, Ahsoka failed to like not let Thrawn come back.
Oh
Now
right.
Thrawn is back and he's worse than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
Yeah, you could
Well,
have literally just had rep people like officers and lieutenants and directors who were still alive after the Return of the Jedi, and
mhm,
it's like they secretly saved the Emperor, and they've been building to something, and then the last movie is the Emperor still comes about because he's been on life support, and then they have a big. There is no First Order. They're just the movies are just trying to figure out who's causing all these problems. And
yeah,
then you come to find out the last movie, it's the Emperor again. He's not quite dead, type of thing, you know.
right. I know. But now
And
if it was Thrawn, it would be um like so much worse. You know, it would have been such more of
sure,
a threat. Like
yeah,
Kylo, like he would never let Kylo Ren be like serve in the rebellion in the. It wouldn't be
yeah,
the First Order. It would be like the Thrawn Republic or the
yeah,
Thrawn Order or something.
yeah,
They would be actually like fit fighters and not
yeah, sure,
it would have been bad. It would have been bad. But like you didn't even have to show that like in the first movie. The first movie could just be about like Ray,
right,
just like it is, right? And then the second movie kind of dig into like, oh yeah, this guy.
yeah, like reveals, yeah, slowly.
Yeah. Oh well,
But
they didn't. They ruined it, but it doesn't matter. Uh,
perfect.
cool. All right. Well, that is us wrapping up Andor season one.
Yeah, really
So
like the
yeah,
prison break scene. Really good overall. I was very happy to watch it, and I'm looking forward to watching Rogue One after watching this, and even
yeah,
going back and watching season two. You know, even after seeing Rogue One, like I'm excited to see what they do with him. Like you said, originally when it came out, it was like I don't hate the actor, the character is cool. Movie, it just
mhm.
was like, like
Yeah. He
well, you know,
dies.
I guess this is an interesting thing to do, I guess. And then it ended up being exactly what it needed to be, which was like a multi-layered, like procedural show, like you said, where it's like a spy and bank heist and Prison
Yeah.
Break and Revolution, Rebellion, like, you know, it was all these like a
Yeah.
cop procedural thing where the Empire is trying to like break, like they're trying to do an investigative work to finding Andor, which is surprisingly interesting to watch the Empire, like how they work and how they search people out. Like you hate
Yeah.
these guys, but it was
They're really
fascinating
good.
to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's funny, right? Because like if my childhood self told me, or if I were to go back and tell my childhood self, like,
yeah.
hey, one day Star Wars is going to be really good and it's going to have no lightsabers, no Jedi, no Sith in it, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
get out of here. But
Right.
I think it has become a thing where, that is become what Star Wars is Jedi and Sith lightsaber battles, and they're
Yes.
great. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah. 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 Of course.
but there's other stories to tell in the
Yeah.
universe, and I
Yep.
think that's why Mandalorian really grabbed a hold of me too, because they came out and it was like, you don't know who this guy is, you don't even see his
Right.
face,
Right.
and the next thing you know is he's this bounty that he's supposed to capture is this, you know Yoda, this
Force
baby
sensitive
Yoda.
character.
And
Yeah.
you're like, what? So it's like all these mysteries kind of combining into one. And it's like the show is about a bounty hunter who basically adopts a child.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the same
Yeah. The same
story.
exact thing over and over again. Right. Yeah.
You can make a side character, a main character surrounded by characters you remember as a kid, and
Yeah.
you can do it well. And they proved that with the first two seasons were really, really, really good. And I think that's why Andor does very well, because like you said, it's a spy procedural crime show
Yeah.
set in Star Wars universe, because
Universe, yeah.
it takes the Star Wars universe and it grounds it like this is real life. This is what people day to day
Right.
is.
All the people that the Jedi's are walking when they're walking through the cities or walking into bars, all the people in the background that are getting drinks and eating.
Mm-hmm.
This is what who you're following. You're following those people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always like, right, the Jedi's are walking through and trying to stay like incognito, and you got some stormtrooper throwing a guy up against the wall.
Yeah, yeah, right,
Like,
right, right.
where's your papers? Like, oh, I had my papers a minute ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that guy. You're following that guy.
Right,
It's like,
exactly. Yeah,
and I love that. I love that. So
yeah, it's great. It's super interesting. I like it.
yeah, it's cool. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know
Hmm.
there's a handful of people that really weren't like crazy for it, but we liked it. So
Yeah, yeah.
so if you
Hard to not
liked
like
it, let us know in the comments. Tell us if you liked it, why you liked it. If you didn't like it, tell us why you
yeah,
didn't like it. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so next time Star Wars related, we'll be covering Rogue One. So
Yep.
look forward to that. So Will, why don't you let everybody know what's going on your channel?
Mm, mm. Well, depending on when this goes up, we always have a weekly Star Trek episode. So that you can probably go to my channel now, and there's probably been one that's either soon to come out on a Sunday, depending on when this comes out, or has recently come out. And in just a couple weeks, I think in like 2 weeks or soon, our RPGs will be back in full swing, and those there will be videos of us getting into some Star Trek, which is different than Star Wars, but that's okay. It's I'm here for both. I like them both. They're completely different
Mm-hmm.
things, and that's what makes them interesting. So, yeah, if you
Yeah.
like space stuff, you like alien stuff, you like stuff like that, that's no difference in my mind. I'm not one of those people that's like Star Wars is better than Star Trek or Star Trek is better than Star Wars.
Whoops.
They're completely different. They're completely different things. So
Yeah, and as one of those former Star Wars is better than Star Trek people, I can tell you that I have seen the light of reason, And I know now that I was a fool.
No, 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 no.
Because I honestly enjoy both. But like you said, they're both very different.
Yeah, they're just very, very different things. And I
One is
get it. It's
one is clean and one
yeah,
is
right,
dirty.
right. Honestly, the Adam Savage said it the best way possible I've ever heard anybody ever describe it is when you look at the two ships, when you look at like the Millennium Falcon up against like the Enterprise, the two most famous ships of
Mhm.
each franchise, the Millennium Falcon is made of pieces of just anything that Han Solo and Chewbacca can find to make the thing run
Yeah.
because they live
Duct
in a
tape and bubble
dystopian.
gum.
Right. Because they live in a dystopian and they have to struggle to find things and make things work and they're smugglers and they have to fight to stay alive. That's
Hmm.
Star Wars. In Star
Yeah.
Trek, everything is sleek and shiny and clean and buffeted and it's nice. And it's because they live in a utopia where
Hmm.
money isn't a thing. That's not, they don't fight to stay alive. They're peaceful. They're just space explorer people. It's two different things.
Yeah.
So,
I like that. I like the because Star Wars too it's funny sometimes how it's like they don't really travel outside of like the rim. I mean, it's always like, oh,
yeah.
well, this is in the outer rim,
Yeah.
but like nothing is really like explored, you know? And Star Trek is all about exploration, which makes it fun.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're doing. They're out there to just learn and discover stuff.
Yeah. That is one of the
It's
things
cool.
that, which is totally fine with Star Wars. But one of the things with Star Wars that happens a lot is they land on a planet and they're like, oh, everybody is familiar with everything that's on the planet. It's this
Yeah.
plant, it's this alien, it's this thing. Where on Star
Well,
Trek,
there's
it's
yeah.
constantly like, they have no idea what this thing is.
Well, in Star Wars, there's like 5 planets
Well, yeah.
that everything is on. There's Mandalore, there's Tatooine, there's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. Of
Coruscant.
course. Right. Yeah.
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 That's it. There's only 5 planets and everybody,
Yeah.
that's why it's so funny that it's like, oh yeah, everybody speaks galactic basic. And it's like, okay, gotcha. Except for, the Hutts who speak Huttese and the
Yeah.
Jawas who speak
Yeah.
Jawese.
Jawi. I don't know. Yeah.
Then there's droids, like droid has language. People can like talk to droids, like
Which I like a lot.
speak
The droid
droid.
stuff I like a lot.
Yeah. Well, the droids are so much better, honestly, than
And it comes across on the screen. And he's like, no, we're not doing that today. And he's like,
like, no, stop asking about it.
right, yeah,
Beep,
exactly.
boop, boop.
Yeah. Yeah, I like all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. So yeah. So it's cool to like both, and you can like both. So
Absolutely.
because we do,
And that's a nerd hole
and that's
special.
that's a nerd hole guarantee. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Will, for joining me tonight talking about Andor.
Absolutely.
And thank you everybody for watching to this point. So you have any word you want anybody to put in the description? I know you like doing that.
Yeah, I want
The
Kino.
end.
I want Kino
Kino,
Loy down.
Kino Loy. Why is Kino Loy?
Yeah.
When
When
is
is Kino Loy returning?
Never.
Please, please, please. Yeah.
Andy Circus will be back, but it'll be some horrible creature, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be a Genosian.
No. Great. Can't wait. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time we dig into a nerd. You don't dig into space hole. That's ridiculous.
Next time we get lost in a nerd hole.
Yeah, anytime we're lost in space.